In the early 1940s during World War II, France was occupied by the Nazis. German soldiers marched the streets of Paris. Train stations were being bombed. Café doors were shuttered. And Albert Camus was at a house party. Camus would head to a friend's house to drink, dance, and perform live theater with folks like Pablo Picasso, Jean-Paul Sartre, and Simone de Beauvoir.
Theatre was one of the things that kept them going, in the midst of occupied Paris.
That's Andy Martin, a Cambridge University professor and author of The Boxer and the Goalkeeper, Sartre versus Camus. He says theater was an outlet for artists and intellectuals during wartime.
It's one of those things that you could just about get away with that got past the Nazi censors, particularly if you made it fairly obscure and existentialist. And they didn't really know what it meant.
But Camus didn't just perform plays. He also ran a French resistance newspaper and was a well-known author. In 1942, he wrote The Stranger, his ode to absurdism, the belief that life has no inherent meaning. The book is about a French-Algerian man who kills an Arab man for no reason.
I realized that I destroyed the balance of the day, the perfect silence of this beach where I'd been happy. And I fired 4 more times at the lifeless body, and the bullets sank in without leaving a mark.
Camus was born and raised in Algeria. He lived alone with his illiterate mother, who cleaned houses to make ends meet. He was a star soccer player as a kid, until he got tuberculosis. After that, he focused solely on writing and working for a socialist newspaper. By 1943, Camus was living in Paris, estranged from his wife in Algeria because of the war. That's when he met Jean-Paul Sartre. They immediately hit it off and would spend hours at Café de Flore, talking about politics, theater, and the ladies. Camus and Sartre were both kind of playboys. All was well until they both had their eye on the same girl, Wanda Kosakovich. Sartre dated her first and gave her a role in his play, The Fly.
Oh, where do you come from?
Algiers.
Oh, I'm from Paris. Have you left anyone down there?
Yes, my wife.
Then Sartre made the bad decision of asking Camus to direct a play that starred Wanda. Bad because even though Sartre was a playboy, he was short, frumpy, and kind of looked like an ogre.
Like something hanging on the outside of Notre Dame Cathedral, basically, whereas Camus was the Bogart of his generation among French philosophers. And, Vogue magazine wanted to photograph him and so on. So he had very much the kind of, Hollywood movie star looks.
Sartre had spent 3 years trying to seduce Wanda. Then Camus shows up and seals the deal in less than an hour.
Right in front of Sartre, she fell for Camus in a big way, and this did cause a certain amount of bitterness and resentment on Sartre's side.
Martin says war provided a common enemy for Camus and Sartre, but with the Nazis gone, all the two had left were a lot of opposing viewpoints. The final nail in their friendship coffin happened when Camus published a critique of totalitarianism, which Sartre took as a personal attack on his own Marxist beliefs. They never spoke again.
Although they fell out, they remained conscious of what the other one was doing all the time. And I think that's very often true of relations of our own, that where you break up with someone, but you nevertheless frequently think, oh, well, what is that person doing or thinking right now?
Albert Camus died in a car crash in 1960, at the age of 46. And though they weren't on speaking terms, it was Jean-Paul Sartre who wrote Camus' obituary. He wrote, "Camus and I quarreled, but a quarrel doesn't matter. It's just another way of living together without losing sight of one another in the narrow little world that is allotted to us." Sartre never forgot about Camus, and half a century later, neither have we. For Philosophy Talk, I'm Shuka Kalantari.